Well, today's long-awaited trial in the $1.6 billion lawsuit against Fox Corporation and Fox News Channel has been delayed until tomorrow. The judge's decision to push it back by one day came just hours before opening statements were supposed to be presented in the case brought by Dominion Voting Systems. So CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane is at the courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware, with the latest on all of this. Scott, good morning. This is the most talked about trial that actually hasn't happened yet. I think that some people may be under the impression that the trial has already started. It hasn't. It was scheduled to start today. Did the judge give any indication as to why the delay?
No, but he has unequivocally hit the world's biggest fat snooze button, legally speaking, possible on a Monday morning. He has pushed everything back 24 hours. Final jury selection, pushed back 24 hours. Opening arguments, pushed back 24 hours. All of this, Anne-Marie, cracks open the door for 11th hour settlement talks between these two sides. This is a landmark case. There's an enormous dollar figure on this case, $1.6 billion in a defamation lawsuit. This really opens the door for a courthouse steps settlement, either a financial settlement or a financial and settlement requiring an apology or some written words or spoken words from Fox News. All that's in the ether as the judge convenes court this morning here in Wilmington, Delaware. He might explain the delay. He might not. We'll find out when he opens court later today.
So just to kind of cover the basics of this case. Yes, it's a defamation trial, but it's not just about defamation. It's about proving malicious intent, because you can sort of mistakenly say something that is incorrect, but it's different if you know better, if you know what you're saying is false and you let it go to air anyways. Can you talk about how high of a bar Dominion has to meet to win a case like this?
Defamation lawsuits and defamation trials have a notoriously high bar for the past half century, where you have to prove actual malice, that somebody knowingly disseminated false information or did so with reckless disregard for the truth. What Dominion has argued is not only did Fox News give voice to these bogus, baseless claims of a scheme by Dominion to flip votes and flip the election, they did so despite warnings from Dominion that this information was false after the first few airings, and they did so knowing that the claims were bogus, internal messages indicating as such. That's the bar Dominion has to meet. This case is so closely watched, not just because it speaks to the baseless claims that saturated the 2020 election and still saturate our politics, but it really sets the bar or gives us a measure of where media law and defamation are in modern day America. And perhaps that bar shifts because of this case and because of this trial.
And of course, you know, there are media outlets watching this case, not just because it's news, but because they're also watching to see what the impact of it could be. Part of what Fox News is kind of, well, has attempted to argue, though I don't think they're going to be able to, according to the judge's restrictions, is, hey, you know, we had people on the air who worked for the former president who were saying these things. That makes it newsworthy. We weren't saying it. They were saying it. But that's kind of like, it's a kind of a bit of a gray area. So I imagine other media outlets are going to be watching things closely for the impact that this case could have on First Amendment arguments.
Yeah, and the judge here, Eric Davis of Delaware, shut down the opportunity for Fox News to simply argue. This was newsworthy, so there was no defamation here. The prior case law, according to Dominion, prior defamation cases made that argument not tenable. You can't just say it's newsworthy and then say anything. But really, Anne-Marie, that's one of those other pieces to watch in this trial and in this case. If Fox is not found to have engaged in defamation, what does that say for the future of news media and in the 2024 election cycle? If you can just air claims you know to be baseless, as Dominion has alleged, moving forward. One of the big things looking prospectively from this trial.
Yeah, it's bound to be interesting. I mean, I have to admit, sort of personally, I know that there's speculation that they might be hammering out a settlement. I would be really curious as to see what the case would be like and how the arguments would play out. Scott, thank you very much.